Welcome to Women Empowered, the most comprehensive self-defense program ever created for women. Now, self-defense begins with the belief that you are worth defending. So congratulations on taking the first step. I'm Eve Gracie, and this is my husband, Henner Gracie. It starts with an R, but it's pronounced like an H.
You guys, please forgive the crazy pronunciation. My family is from Brazil, where my grandfather, Grandmaster Hélio Gracie, along with his brother Carlos, created the amazing art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the early 1900s. This art was specifically designed to empower the weak against the strong. Now, my father was born into this family tradition of Jiu-Jitsu, and in 1978, he brought the art to America. After several years of teaching classes in his garage, he created the UFC in 1993, and he chose my uncle, his brother Royce, as the family representative for Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Fortunately, Royce went in there and defeated all comers, proving once and for all that with leverage and technique, you can overcome size and strength. Now, when this happened, law enforcement and military professionals all over the world became very fascinated with jiu-jitsu, and they began incorporating it into their training regimens. And this is when my father became aware of a shocking statistic surrounding sexual assault. Most specifically, that 1 in 4 women were going to be attacked in their lifetime. And realizing that he had a wife and 3 daughters, he became very concerned that statistically, at least, there was a chance that at least one of them were going to be attacked in their lives. And at that point, he realized that jiu-jitsu had not yet served its most important purpose. And that was the birth of the Women Empowered program.
So based on law enforcement reports and feedback from assault survivors, we've created a 20-lesson course to address the most common and dangerous threat scenarios facing women. Now, even though the physical techniques of this program have been tested and refined over nearly a century, it's the emphasis on the verbal and psychological defense strategies that truly set this program apart.
Throughout the course, you will learn 20 essential techniques, but behind every technique is a guiding principle of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. One of our main objectives is to build your muscle memory in the application of these principles so that you can modify any technique in the heat of battle, since no 2 attack situations are exactly the same.
That's right. Now, one thing we think is important for you to know is that more than 78% of attacks against women are committed by people we know, also known as non-strangers. This is so relevant because if a self-defense system is based entirely on aggressive tactics, such as violent strikes, eye gouges, or groin shots, and you are attacked by someone you know, you may hesitate to defend yourself or do nothing at all, especially if you have to see that person tomorrow. So one of the most unique and powerful aspects of this program is the violence scalability factor, which means we teach everything from verbal assertiveness and non-violent de-escalation tactics, all the way to deadly force techniques for worst case scenarios. So no matter who the attacker is, stranger or not, we'll have a plan.
Throughout this program, we will be referencing the assailants as him, he, and men. Now, this is not to suggest that women cannot perpetrate violence or that these techniques do not work on women. But since the vast majority of sexual assaults are committed by men, we will refer to the attackers as such. Another important thing to keep in mind is that in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, regardless of whether we're teaching men or women, we always assume that the attacker will be bigger, heavier, and stronger than we are. For this reason, we must rely exclusively on techniques that are based on leverage, timing, and energy efficiency, as opposed to strength, speed, and athleticism. Now, when discussing potential threat scenarios, we will be sharing techniques that we have found to be highly effective and reliable. However, this does not mean that if you have ever done anything different in the past, that it was wrong. When it comes to self-defense, there is no right or wrong. In any situation, you will do what you can with the tools you have to survive. And in the end, that's all that matters.
So important. Now, it's important to note that as women, it's not our responsibility to prevent an assault. And under no circumstance does the blame of an attack ever fall on the survivor. Women should be able to live freely, dress as they please, and drink whatever they want. Now, in a perfect world, men would acknowledge boundaries, understand consent, and respect women. And we're working on that. However, until that happens, we encourage you to invest in your personal safety to reduce your risk of experiencing violence. Also, we are proud to say that many survivors have completed this program and found it both healing and empowering. For those of you who are survivors of assault, we understand that some of the techniques and discussions of this program may trigger strong emotions of past incidents. Above all, we commend your strength and willingness to take an important step on the path towards personal empowerment. But please be sure to work through this program at your own pace. And even though it may feel challenging at times, we hope it will provide strength and confidence so it's there when you need it most.
Also, there will be times throughout this program when we will be smiling, joking, laughing together as we learn these
Love it.
techniques. Now, we do this because we believe that information lands better when we are enjoying ourselves and having a good time. Now, this is not to trivialize the subject matter. We all know why we're here and the harsh realities that exist regarding sexual assault and violence against women. That being said, we want you to end this program feeling empowered and excited to keep learning, not scared or demoralized.
Let's make one thing very clear. We are not here to tell you what to do, what to wear, or how to live your life. We are here to empower you with knowledge and a skill set you can apply to all life situations, from feeling safe in your day-to-day activities to dealing with an inappropriate person, all the way to defending yourself against an attacker in a life or death situation.
So, Eve, how do we know if we've accomplished our mission?
Believe it or not, our goal is not that women complete this program and begin choking out men left and right.
But if they deserve it, it wouldn't be that bad.
True that. Ultimately, the effectiveness of this program is not measured by the number of fights that are won, but rather the number of fights that are avoided through heightened awareness, elevated confidence, and boundary setting.
I love it. Ladies, it's time to discuss some critical details regarding how this program works, training safety, and the pink belt qualification test before we begin with lesson number 1. All right, you guys, so to truly get the most out of this program, you have to understand the landscape, the strategy, and the program outline of what we're going to do for you guys. The program is made up of 20 individual lessons, but these lessons are broken up very uniquely. They're broken up into what we call slices, and slices essentially are variations of techniques. And what we want to do is make sure you learn the individual variations before we put them together and develop your reflexes. So slicing is the mindset, and these are all put together in a very specific order, a linear format, because lesson 2 builds on lesson 1, lesson 3 builds on lessons 1 and 2, and that happens all the way to the end. So make sure you guys follow the flow and the format that we've laid out for you.
Yes, and at the end of every slice, we will have a silent demo. And all this is, it's basically just a demonstration of that variation that we learned in that specific lesson, and it's just going to play on loop. So this is really helpful tool for you for if you're just rehearsing or practicing this afterwards, you can just play it on loop and just watch it and make sure that you're kind of aligned with what the drill is for that technique.
Absolutely. And we wrap up each lesson what we call a mindset minute. And the mindset minute is basically the summary, kind of the big picture. What's the major thought of that lesson? That's provided in the mindset minute. So make sure you watch those as well, because sometimes there are some gold nuggets in there. All right. So have fun with those.
Many of the lessons will end with a reflex development drill. This is where the individual techniques come together to strengthen your reflexes in the most realistic combinations.
Yes, and throughout the lessons, there are many bonus techniques. Now, they're called bonus techniques because there are additional variations, modifications, and some really cool details. And even though you won't be tested on these details on your pink belt test, we thought that they would answer a lot of the what ifs that might come up during the training, and we just threw them in there. So if you feel overwhelmed by these bonus details, calm down, set them aside, focus on the core variation, and then later, when you think you have it all dialed in, go back, watch the lessons again, because all these bonus details will start jumping out at you, and you're going to want to practice those. I guarantee it.
And then we've also got fight philosophies. Now, these are critical big picture discussions that bring it all together. So these range from the 4 phases of an attack to the critical psychology of dealing with a weapon-bearing opponent. Now, if you don't own the fight philosophy, you don't own the program, and you will be tested on these discussions in the pink belt test, so be sure to pay attention.
Now, review, review, review. If you were in our private garage and you were one of our personal students, the way it would work is every single time you come to class on the mat, we would review all the previously learned techniques. So you would never learn a new technique without solidifying and strengthening your reflexes in previously learned techniques. Now, you should do the exact same thing in your at-home training. No new techniques until the old ones are rock solid. So the way it works is before you begin any new lesson on the books or on the videos, get with your partner and literally just go through over and over again the previous ones, so you're not piling more confusion on top of more confusion, okay? Until you feel solid, you don't want to move forward. And if you feel a little fuzzy on some details or during your review, you don't have it all dialed in, what you can do is rewatch old lessons that you think you've got, and you won't believe how many details will jump out at you that will facilitate you in your execution.
Now it's time to introduce Gracie University. You guys, this is a big deal. Gracie University was created to allow us to connect with students all over the world, just like you. So from finding a training partner to asking questions about moves you're learning to uploading your pink belt test when the time comes, make sure you take advantage of this technological super tool.
And there you have it, you guys. When you complete this program, you will have the opportunity to digitally record yourself performing all the techniques in the program, the actual pink belt test. Take that video, upload it to Gracie University, and through our revolutionary video evaluation process, we will assess your performance and determine your eligibility from promotion from anywhere in the world, you guys. So get excited about this, because know that you're not just training in your garage. Your garage is an extension of our academy, and we will be watching you every step of the way through pink belt and beyond. This program is designed to be completed in the comfort of your own home. But to make the most of it, you will need to find one or more dedicated training partners, whether it's a husband, a friend, a sister, a mother, a brother, a grandpa, a boom, a boom, a boom. Make sure your partner watches this part with you.
So what makes a good training partner? Someone who is helpful, patient, detail-oriented, gives good, positive feedback to their partner, like this guy, and wants to work together to get through this program, not someone who is competitive, too aggressive, or wants to defeat the techniques. It's super important to remember that the road to self-defense mastery is one that takes time and patience with yourself and your partner. You should start slowly and know that you will not develop reflexes overnight. So start by understanding the simple dynamics of each technique, and then the bad guy can slowly build up resistance to further test your conviction in the moves.
All right. I need to have a word with the guys. Just the guys. Eve, please. Please. Guys, listen up. This can be one of the most enjoyable and empowering things you've ever done with your significant other. If you listen to what I'm going to tell you next. If not, you're in for quite the disaster. Not really, but listen, I need you to follow these 3 rules when working with your significant other. Rule number 1, eliminate the ego right now while she's still out of the room. Okay, and what that means is we're going to be learning techniques together. You're going to be sharing ideas. A video is going to play, and we're going to show a move, and then Eve's going to be like, wow, 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 wow. And then I'm going to be standing there like, oh, I'm pain in this. And then you're going to get up, and you're going to grab your wife by the wrist or your girlfriend by the neck or whoever, and you're going to mount, and you're going to do this. And the ego in you is going to say, no, this will not work on me. Let me show that this move will not work on me. Because you're a man and you're proud and she's a woman, and there's no way it can be effective against you. And I'll tell you right now, if you enter with that mindset, you will ruin it. You will rip the seedling right from the ground, even before it has a chance to sprout even the slightest amount. Okay? So go in, eliminate the ego, and don't defeat the techniques. Work with them, not against them. Now, rule number 2, expect nothing, praise everything. This is especially true if you already do jujitsu and you already have kind of some knowledge, which I'm sure is a lot of people out there who practice jujitsu themselves, want to practice with their wives or significant others, but they don't know how to get them into it. So here they are, women empowered, and they're trying to do it the right way. Well, guess what? She's brand new. They're brand new. So expect nothing, praise everything. What that basically means is that you have to understand that you are their only effective gauge of success. So as they're practicing and they do the technique, let's say she does it 60% correctly, and you recognize that because you paid attention to the video and you saw that 40% was missing. At that very moment, you have a very important decision to make. Will you focus on the 40 or will you focus on the 60? Right? Your mindset might be, wait a minute, I need to focus on the 40 that she was missing because I need her to get to 100 very quickly, because if she gets attacked, she needs to be 100. Well, guess what? When you focus on the 40 that she was missing, all she knows is she 100% did not meet your expectation. And guess what? As soon as she begins to associate the practice of self-defense and jujitsu with her inability to meet your expectation, that's her last class. It's over. So when they're practicing and they do it 60% correctly, get excited, hype the 60, and know that tomorrow she'll get 70, and the next day she'll get 80, and then she'll get 90. So trust the system, you guys. And when you recycle through the lessons every single time, you guys, they're gonna get better. So as a teacher, I always say to myself and other instructors that I'm certifying, as a teacher, it's more important to focus on what you're not saying than what you are saying. In other words, eliminate the desire to nitpick and correct every single mistake you see, and all of a sudden praise what you see, and they're going to be so excited to practice because it's going to be their chance to impress and connect with you. All right? Rule number 3, grow at their pace. In other words, care enough not to care too much. If for you, an effective training session is a 90-minute technique and then spar and then this and then that, and then you get to a training session with your loved one and you guys want to practice together and she wants to do 30 minutes before you guys go out and watch a movie, and you're thinking, no, that's not sufficient. I want to train for 1 hour. Well, guess what? This isn't about you. And if what is an effective training session for you is a 90-minute intense training session, and she prefers 15 or 20 minutes, 1 or 2 slices, not even an entire lesson, that's totally acceptable. As long as she's excited and encouraged and wants to come back and she says, wow, this stuff is fun and it's functional and I can be pretty effective if I just stick with it. Guess what? 30 minutes a day. That's 30 minutes more than she was doing before you guys began the program. So back to that, care enough not to care too much, you guys, and grow at her pace. Exhale. Hey, Eve, come on back. How's everything going?
Oh, great, thanks.
Welcome
You guys
back
had
to
a
this
good talk.
party. Oh, we connected. Don't worry, we connected.
Okay.
All right. And you guys have any questions about that stuff we talked about? You guys know where to find me.
Mhm. All right, thanks, Hunter. Now, regarding your training space, you will need at least 100 square feet. Basically a 10-foot by 10-foot
Oh.
training space covered in mats or soft carpet. And you can use a backyard, a garage, or just move the coffee table out of the way in your living room and get down. So for the training, you will also need a training knife and a gun for our weapon defenses. Now, both home grappling mats and other training equipment can be found at gracieuniversity.com. And if you don't have a training partner, you can find one there as well.
You guys are all set. You know where to find it. Everything's at gracieuniversity.com. Follow the program lesson by lesson. It's lined up the way it is very specifically. Trust your training partners, you guys. Dedicate, dedicate, dedicate. And we can't wait to see you guys seal it all together in your pink belt test when the time comes.
Oh
I
my
think this is it, you guys.
Okay, I'm ready to stop talking. Let's start the program. I'm so excited.
Let's go. A very short positional reference orientation video before you begin the program so you know what we're talking about. Eve, lie down, please. The mount position. For Eve, one of the worst case scenarios, I'm mounted on top of Eve, both knees on the ground, around her hips. I have control and I have incredible advantage here because she can't strike, but I can. You don't want to end up in this situation, but don't worry. We're going to teach you many, many ways of how to escape from here. Side mount. When I'm off to the side here, both knees on one side of Eve's body, my body can be low in a more controlling position or sitting up with more striking intentions. If this happens, you want to get out as quickly as possible. Where is the position you want to be in? It's the guard. The guard is the most important, and it's ultimately the secret of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I'm inside Eve's legs, and even though this seems like an advantage for the top person, if you know Jiu-Jitsu, you can take control of the fight from here, you can submit them, you can get up very quickly, and it begins by crossing your legs in a closed guard. This is a closed guard position. She has great distance management capabilities from here, many submissions, and get-up opportunities if you know what you're doing. And if she has a chance, she wants to achieve the back mount. She's going to come over, lock on, put her hooks inside, and from here, Eve has the back mount on me. Both hooks, nice control, upper body control. She's very connected, very dominant position because from here, she can apply the most powerful and most frequently used submission in all of Jiu-Jitsu, the rear naked choke. All right, you guys. I can guarantee you that we're going to reference all of those positions in ridiculous detail throughout the program, but now you'll know exactly what we're talking about.